welcome to what is the last video that I'm going to make that includes the Elantra Sport. If the thumbnail and the title of the video weren't clue enough as to what's happening, I have decided to move on from the Elantra, and there's a few reasons why. So I've pretty much taken the car as far as I can take it. That doesn't include spending a lot of money going to the next step, and even then the car is not suited for what I want to use it for. Really, the next big step would be to install a limited slip differential, and if you're going to have the transmission out to do that, you might as well do the clutch and flywheel, because it's probably going to need it anyways. I'm at about 90,000 miles on the stock clutch. I'm sure it's okay, but you know, if you get the transmission out, you might as well do it while you're in there. The price on the limited slip itself is about $1,600, and then I'm not going to do it myself, so I'm going to have to pay someone else to do it. And then you add up the parts prices for the clutch and the flywheel, and while I'm in there, I might as well do the rear main seal and do the axle seals and just refresh everything. And if it comes down to it, with labor and stuff, I'm looking at least $5,000 to get that done, and that's not something I want to do. Second reason is because with the stuffed turbo, we're having issues with the tuning. I think it's mainly because we're trying to remote tune it using data logging, and it's not working out for me, not as much as I would like. So that, and the third reason is these cars, even though you can turn the traction and the stability off with the button over here, there's still a stability control system that is hidden in the ABS system, and the only way to defeat it is to remove the ABS fuse, which obviously when you do that, you lose your ABS. It's in the body control module, and it can't be tuned out. So I personally, I know people that have had issues with it when they do autocross. It'll throw the car into limp mode, and you gotta stop and shut the car off and start it back up to reset everything. I haven't had that happen to me, but when I'm pushing the car hard in the canyons, I have had it, like the car is under high G-force, under load in the corner, and I start to roll back on the throttle. The car hesitates, like it doesn't want to let me have it, and it's fairly annoying. So to make the car a full-on track car just isn't going to happen, because that stability control that you can't defeat is basically going to ruin everything. So I've made the decision to get rid of the car. My original plan was to part it out, return it back to stock pretty much, and then I was going to sell it to Carvana. They were going to offer me like $12,500 or something like that. But what's actually going to end up happening is my brother kind of needs a car right now. So what he's going to do is I'm going to leave a few things on the car, like the coilovers and the wheels, and he's going to give me like $2,000 or $3,000, which is basically what I would have gotten over the payoff for the car from Carvana, and he's going to take the car. So it'll be nice, because it'll still kind of be in the family, and you know, I'll still get to see it from time to time. I'm doing 60 and a 50 right now. Someone's in a hurry. Anyway, so the car will still be around, and I'll get to see it. As far as what I'm gonna do, I want to go back to an older car for two reasons. One, I'm not a fan of drive-by-wire. I never have been. It's not linear. It's terrible. It's just annoying. So I want to get away from it. And two, going back to the stability control, I want an older car that doesn't have all these electronic nannies that I don't have to worry about. So my plan right now is to probably go back to a early mid-90s Nissan front-wheel drive SR20 power. So we're talking like B13 SER or a Infiniti G20 or a Nissan NX, which I've owned B13 SERs in the past. I've had a B14 SER, I had a B15 SE, which had an SR20 in it. I've had a G20, but I have not had an NX, so I'm kind of leaning towards that direction. And I'll put a picture of one up right now for you guys so you can see what it looks like. It's not the NX with like the notch back like trunk area. It's the bubble NX, or the egg, I guess. The nickname for it, I think, in Nissan circles is they call it the egg. But I'd like to get one of those, and then it'll just become a nice daily / track car. I'd like to do, so they come with the 2-liter SR20, makes about 140, 145 horsepower stock. I'd be okay with that at the start, but I actually want to, in the future, or if I can find one that's already got it done, I would like to buy one with the swap already done. But I want to put an SR20 VE in it, and the VE has Nissan's VVL, which is variable valve timing and lift. It's similar to Honda's VTEC, and so it has the whole cam switch over thing. There are a few versions of the SR20 VE. There's actually an SR16 VE, which is a D-stroked SR20, and it's 1.6 liters. And then there's the regular SR20 VE, and then there's the 20V version, which it doesn't have 20 valves. It's called the 20V because it came in the Nissan Primera in Europe, which was the P12 chassis, and with a few tweaks you can make at least 200 wheel NA and rev to 8,500 all day long. Something like that I think would be great for doing track days and just being reliable. And I won't have any problems with overheating because it's naturally aspirated. This car, especially during track days, I should say especially during autocross, like even after a couple runs in autocross, I'm running 150 degree intake temps and 220, 230 on the coolant temps. So that's another reason why I'm getting rid of it. So let's do a little pull, shall we? Because the 120 degree intake temps right now, but that felt very lazy to me. Car's been sitting for about a week and a half. I have another car that I drive for work, so This just sits in the garage all week, doesn't go anywhere, and something's up with the suspension right now, which will get fixed before I give it to my brother, but the alignment is off, so I have to steer to the left slightly to go straight. Yeah, the big thing about the tuning for this turbo is that it is very, I'm not even sure how to describe it. It's very lazy in the mid boost range. So like up to like 8 pounds, it's okay, just normal driving. And full throttle, you know, it'll hit 23, 24 pounds. But there's no middle ground. There's no in between, right? So like the more throttle I give it, it'll hang up at like 8 to 10 psi and feel like it's hesitating, like it doesn't want to accelerate. And then if I just give it a little bit more throttle, it'll shoot to full boost and the car will just take off. So between like 10 and 20 pounds, there's just nothing there. And I don't know if that can be tuned out on a dyno, which, by the way, if you're thinking about getting a stuffed turbo, I would highly recommend making sure you tune it on a dyno so that it can be done perfect to the car and it's on point. Doing it remote tuning with someone that's on the other side of the country, it doesn't work. And the only way that I could get it dyno tuned out here, would be to rent a dyno and then have the tuner remote in and work with the guy at the shop, the tuner that I'm renting the dyno from, and they would have to work together and tune the car. And renting a dyno is not cheap, and then you got to pay for the tuning itself. And I'd say to properly tune it remotely on a dyno is at least $1,000, and that adds to the clutch and the flywheel and the limited slip and all the other stuff, and it's just, to me, it's not worth it anymore. Don't get me wrong, I love the car. This is without a doubt the best car that I have ever owned. No regrets. I've had it for just about 5 years now, and I think early, like April 7th or something will be 5 years. But if I could go back and do it all again, I would have done it very mild. Maybe just springs, wheels, tires, rear sway, short shifter, all the shifter bushings, and maybe an axle back, and that's it. I wouldn't touch anything else. Everything else would be inside. I would do stereo and, you know, creature comforts, maybe add some sound deadening to it to quiet it down. Other than that, I wouldn't have gone all out the way I did. I tried to make the car into something that it is not, and I'm realizing that now, and I think it's just time for me. It's been a good 5 years, but it's time for me to move on. So, like I said, my brother will have the car. I'll still see it. He's basically taking over payments. There's like a year left of payments left on it, and it'll still be around, so I'll still be able to see it. So with that said, like I said, moving on to probably an early 90s Nissan. There's one for sale locally, an NX that already has an SR20VE swap. There's one listed locally for sale, and it's been listed for about a month and it hasn't moved. So I'm hoping after part out and my brother, you know, taking over payments and stuff, I'll go ahead and grab that NX if it's still available. because it has the newer 20V VVL swap and a lot of good parts on it, and I think it would be a really solid car. You know, figure a small two-door coupe that weighs probably 2,200 pounds, with 200 wheel horsepower NA and like 8,500 RPM rev limit, maybe even 9. Sometimes you can go to 9 on those. Thing would be nuts. It just like, I like my turbo cars, but a nice sounding, high revving, naturally aspirated engine is just great as well. You know, stuff like K20, Honda S2000, as long as the owner doesn't go crazy with the exhaust, they sound amazing. So I'll have that to look forward to, and I'll be sure to update you guys when that comes around. I'm hoping sometime within the next couple months. For now, I'm going to part this thing out, get it to my brother, and I'll just drive my company lease car that I have for a little bit. And when I find the right car to replace this one, then I'll do it. So look out for a video for that. And in the meantime, Gran Turismo 7 is out, so there's going to be some videos from that as well. And I'm sure there'll be some American Truck Simulator videos and whatnot. I don't really have too much going on in real life outside the car for me to bother posting videos of other stuff, but it might be kind of slow on the channel for a little bit. But once we get the new car, things will pick up. So keep an eye out for that. And with that said, I want to thank, I have about 500 subscribers. Most of you are here because of this car, and it sucks that it's going away, but sometimes you gotta move on. So I hope you guys stick around. There's definitely going to be car projects in the future. I also want to get something four-wheel drive, maybe a Nissan Xterra to go with the new car, mainly as a towing rig, but also as an adventure vehicle, so I can go out off-roading. So there should be videos about that in the future, and it'll be a little slow going for a little bit, but it'll pick up once the new cars come in. So I want to thank you guys for sticking around, and see you in the next one.